A very good, positive Zen day to you. God bless. The intention here, friends, has always been to open one's mind to the possibilities of a different understanding to the world that we all, once upon a time, have been indoctrinated into. The creation that we live or under is a designed, geocentric, electromagnetic one, and not a heliocentric, outer space one. And I do pray that you can start to see it before it's too late, or at least start to question what you actually believe. Now, each upload over the last few years, I've tried not to say too much or to say too little. One's attention spans are certainly not what they used to be. Most will have probably clicked off already. And guidelines are also very different these days. You can't really find any true information anymore. Just the rubbish trying to debunk something that will certainly never go away, because it can't. Truth will always prevail. So if you are lucky enough to get to see one of these uploads, and you are a debunker or you are a believer in this globe religion, the evolution, the heliocentrism, and for us to try and make that breakthrough with you on the other side of the screen is a much harder task than being face to face, mono a mono. Now, something for you, your mind to think about, to ask itself: do you consider yourself to be a thinker, or are you a feeler of the mind? Maybe you're a bit of both, and it's very important to understand the difference due to the state of mind of you as a person. You have to remember that your beliefs shape the world that you live in. Now, thinkers decide based primarily on logic, and when they do so, they consider a decision to be made. They tend to see the world in black and white and dislike fuzziness. Perhaps because people are so variable, they focus on the tangible things, seeking truth and the use of clear rules. So at work, they seem to be task-orientated, seek to create clear value, and interacting with them tends to be brief and business-like. They may seem to be cold and heartless by feelers of the mind. So feelers decide based primarily through social considerations, listening to their heart and considering the feelings of others. They see life as a human existence and material things as being subservient to this. They value harmony and use tact in their interactions with others. At work, they are sociable and people-orientated and make many decisions based on values more than value. And they may seem to be unreliable and emotional by thinkers of the mind. Thinking is more than just thought, and feeling is not just about being over-emotional or fluffy, is it? We are a continuous, conscious, real-life live stream upload, so they are all about how we decide through a form of logic or through considering people. We can also have both understandings, yet tend to favour one over the other. So what do you see yourself as? A thinker or a feeler? Or a thinker-feeler? Or a feeler-thinker? People, just like children, all learn at different times, and the definition of a good teacher is to make sure that everybody understands at the same time, so that you're all on the same page at more or less the right times, so to speak. Error may for a time obscure truth, but it does not annihilate it. So let me ask you a simple question to any human being who is a believer in God or Allah or some kind of a creator, but you also have this belief in a heliocentric solar system, the evolution of this outer space world theory as a religion. Now, it states that the sun is at the centre of the solar system and that the earth revolves around the sun. Is that not correct? So I ask you directly that what in the name of reason did the earth revolve round before the sun was made? Because in the scriptures, the earthland, not a planet, was created in the beginning, and the sun was not made until the fourth day. The earth was created out of the water on the third day of the creation. Now, I also would like to know what is keeping this so-called globed Earth up in this vast outer space. The Earth obviously being a lot heavier than the so-called orbiting moon, right? And all of the so-called planets. Yet, in this vast solar system luring your soul away, what is keeping this Earth, the very heavy planet, up and not falling straight down? There's no up, there's no down, so what's the story? Why are we not falling straight down? And you have gravity or solar attraction is this explanation for the reason, but as we all know, as scientific evidence will prove, it cannot be tested to any known real science, hence why it's got to be an absurd notion. And it reminds me over the last year why I've watched mainstream YouTubers try to talk about the FE, the so-called debunkers, and some saying that we believe it's a disc Earth flying, moving directly up through outer space. And half the time I can't contain the laughter when I see it. I read the comments, and all thinking that they have this understanding of what the real actual Earth believers believe. Yet how many times alone today have you yourself been reinforced, indoctrinated, seeing computer generated images of fake Earth globes in movies, adverts, weather, all your streaming services, your mobile phones? But to the wise, this does show that they are way off the root concept of truth to this place that we call Earth, and have no true intention towards root zetetic philosophy, but completely happy in devoting their souls, sometimes selling it, to this demon helio religion, gravity hoax, and all of the alien UFO outer space religion, magically suspending up a soaking wet spinning orange in this vast outer space. It's priceless comedy. Even the absolute precision of the equinoxes could not happen if the Earth moves. You do know this. For the strange movements of the solar system were made physically, not for it to happen. And it's another thing they changed to fit the religion. Yet it precisely happens, doesn't it? But who cares? This is what you want to hear, isn't it? This is directly from NASA. Fancy feeling tiny and insignificant today? Well, NASA's got you covered, friends. The Space Agency has just created a video illustrating the scale of black holes, and they can be truly unfathomably monstrous. These so-called celestial titans lurk at the centre of most large galaxies, including our very own Milky Way. I love that chocolate bar. And can contain tens of billions of times more mass than the Sun. But as the animation released by the Goddard Space Flight Center makes very clear, the size of black holes varies greatly. Oh, really? Well, thank you very much indeed for the $30 billion cartoon. And that's all it's ever going to be, friends. A cartoon illustration video of reinforced indoctrination of fake globe outer space religion. one cannot eat from the table of our Lord and then go out dancing with the devil. And it's very shocking to realise that most, if not all churches, mosques, synagogues, all places of worship today do not teach his true gospel creation story, but this outer space one. And what a sin that really is. And God have mercy on you all. But something very real. The birds of the skies understand our geocentric creation because they fly to the south for the winter, but not south as some may know it. So we can look at it here. But for all the birds out there, as for knowing which way is south, they use the sun or the moon and the constellations as the guide. As they do this every year, they use a geocentric electromagnetic path of orbit, if you will. And this cannot happen on a spinning orange. They circle the inner firmament of heaven, the inner planes of the skies. Yet, friends, did you know that they are not actually designed to see heaven? And heaven, have you ever wondered to yourself why not one animal or bird or creature is actually able to do this? They are not designed to look straight up to heaven. And it's ordained that way because we are superior to all. The birds are inferior to us. The four-footed beasts are inferior to the birds, and inferior to these are the creeping things which lurk underneath the earth, all according to rank in the scale of being beings. So out of all of the quadrupeded beasts which walk upon all fours and turn their looks earthward, not one is actually capable of observing the heaven above with ease. In the same manner regarding the creeping and slithering things with their whole bodies wriggling along the earth, not one of them is capable of observing the heaven above. All birds being bipeds, of course, and having their legs in the middle of the bodies, direct their eyes towards the earth. And yet when they are high up on the wing, and when they are standing, they all find it difficult to turn their eyes upwards towards the heaven. Only man alone, of all the animals, the species on earth, being rational and destined for heaven above, have received from our Creator a figure of congruity with such a destiny. For we are biped, and it is very easy for us to behold with both our eyes the earth below and the heaven above. How else did JC ascend into it? How could that ever happen if one's moving faster than a speeding bullet through the vast outer space? You see, the truth is he ascended straight up into heaven above because the earthland is below. Heaven is nowhere but above, friends, and we are hastening to ascend from the earthland into the heaven above if we are very lucky to have chosen the right path. This way we get to achieve what I suppose we can only use the Japanese word for awakening, which is satori. That is conscious. The earthly and heavenly things are bound together through us. Try and think of a caterpillar which lives its life here on the earth, and then at some point it cocoons itself in a shell and then dies. But then something magnificent happens, doesn't it? It transforms, it metamorphosizes itself into something. It's reborn into something spectacular, something completely extraordinary and totally different from what it was before. Now, does the butterfly ever remember what it used to be? Or does the caterpillar ever know what it's born to become, and thus reborn in its ultimate spiritual life form from its past life. But yet, unfortunately, for the caterpillar and the butterfly, its destiny is only to remain here on the earth as it's magnificent, and not to ascend into heaven for all eternity. One can never underestimate the unpredictability of human stupidity, friends, and this fact is self-evident, as already mentioned, all day, every day, seeing our beautiful, flat, geocentric Earth creation, but never really seeing it, or being ignorant to this fact of nature. The eye cannot look at itself, neither the ear cannot hear itself. But empirically, one can recommend taking a few voyages round the world, seeing Polaris that's not moved for millennia via a cruise line or an aeroplane. Remember, most coins are round and not solid, aren't they? Marbles went out of fashion a long time ago. You will always observe the sun and the moon circulating above, and the same constellations, changing, reappearing at the same times, and Polaris being there directly above the only apex pole of magnetism. The difference in sizes to the sun and moon dependent on one's place on the plane, and returning to their each starting point, thus your very special birthday. And all via the laws of the luminaries and its glorious perfect design, thus proving conclusively or inconclusively to yourself our nature-filled, geocentric, created creation. You know, your senses know. You just don't know that you know? But guess what, friends? You know. Open your eyes. God bless.